Yes, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the BTS Boot Room. I'm your host, Kieran Burke, as ever, and we are here tonight to talk about the game that has just finished live on RT2 in the last couple of moments. That was Derry City and Drogheda, with the game ending 1 apiece. And as ever, I'm joined by a couple of supporters from each of the teams in action tonight. Delighted to have once again from Derry City, JP Fahy. JP, how are you?
Hi, Grant Kieran. We bit happier tonight.
Yeah, very good. We'll have a chat about that in a moment. And I'm delighted to say Luke McQuillan joins me from the Drogheda United side of things. Luke, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Bit just trying to catch me breath now, but yeah, I'm all good, all good.
Do I sense a small bit of disappointment in your voice? Do you feel maybe Drogs could have gone on for the 3 points?
A point away to Derry. No matter if they're struggling or not, it's always a good point. It's such a difficult place to go to. But to be honest, it's a bit disappointing because I thought, we scored and then it was just probably a disappointing goal to give away. I think it could have been a free out actually, for the corner that led to the goal. But look, on another day we might have got that free kick, but I think I thought I was happy enough with the performance. I thought in the second half there was I think the two chances that we had in the last sort of few minutes. I thought we were unlucky not to take them, but overall it's a decent point to take.
We'll come back to Drogheda in a minute, but JP, as you opened up with there, you're a little bit happier than the last time I spoke to you. So, how are you feeling after that result tonight? Derry's first point of the season.
Yeah, happy. Yeah, thought it was more positive from what we've seen from all season. I thought we've seen lots of positive play in our play. I thought we got on the ball. We tried to make things happen instead of just aimlessly getting it forward. Disappointed in the goal we conceded on another day. Ronan Boys cuts it out and it goes for a corner. Unfortunately, it fell nicely for Massey, and disappointed that we couldn't clear it. But I thought they showed great character. They get back into the game, and it was a well taken corner, short corner, and Patchen delivered a beauty of a ball for Ronan Boys. And thought second half was a wee bit disappointing from our point of view. We didn't create as much clear cut as maybe we did in the first half. But I have to be happy with a point because Drogheda did make it difficult for us, especially on the counter attack.
Let's take a look at the starting 11 tonight for Derry City. And I suppose the main talking point was the fact that Parkhouse was dropped to the bench. Akintunde and Fitzgerald were two of the more attacking players. Fitzgerald had a little bit of a free role, and he was quite good in all honesty. I think that kind of suited him, having that kind of freedom to roam across the final third of the pitch. But what did you make of Parkhouse not starting, and do you think that worked tonight?
Well, I was definitely surprised when I seen that he wasn't starting because I thought that he was early substitution the other night was probably maybe to save a wee bit of energy for tonight. But I think it worked. I think it worked a wee bit because although James Akintunde is probably not as deadly in front of goals what Parkhouse is, but he offers something different. He held the ball up well a couple of times, and it's hard to tell because things hadn't been happening in the opening 3 or 4 games with Parkhouse on the starting 11. And look, it is what it is, and I thought that James Akintunde done okay. He wasn't brilliant, but I thought he done okay. And I think Dundalk on Tuesday night, I think Parkhouse is going to start ahead of him.
Yeah, and another player that caught the eye tonight for Derry City was named man of the match as well. Will Patching, probably his best display in a Derry City shirt, although you could probably say that for most of the players, to be honest. But starting to see maybe some of the attributes and the signs that there was a lot of talk about Patching when he signed for Derry on loan from Dundalk. I know Declan Devine said that he felt from what he'd seen in training and pre-season, he could be one of the best players he's ever signed for Derry City. Now, after the first couple of games, I think people were scratching their heads a little bit, but we started to finally see some glimpses tonight.
Oh, definitely. I thought he was outstanding. He was everywhere. He was front to back four. He was on the wing. He was in behind the striker. I think if you see in the first half, he was in deep inside his own half, and he just looked up and with one pass of ball, Fitzgerald was in. Now Fitzgerald went for the looping header. Maybe he could have brought it down and had a strike on goal, and it probably would have been one of the assist of the seasons if it had ended up in the back of the net. But I think Pat Fenlon gave him a man a match. And for me, he was the one that stood out for me. Probably James Brown from a Drogheda point of view. Maybe he was a wee bit unlucky not to get the man.
I couldn't agree with Fenlon's decision. In truth, I have to say I thought Brown was absolutely sensational once again.
But I think I saw in patches against Shamrock Rovers. Well, patching. Sorry for the. I thought we saw in patches what he could do against Shamrock Rovers, and he just took it up to another level night against Drogheda. And hopefully now we've got our first point on the board. We've put on a really good 90 minutes. We put on an okay 35 minutes the other night against Rovers. Hopefully now he has two performances that we can build on now for the rest of the season. But hopefully now we start to pick up wins rather than draws.
Yeah, and Declan Doyne just speaking to RT Sport at the moment. I suppose this takes a little bit of pressure off his shoulders. It just stops a little bit of the talk that was going on. And Dundalk come up to the Brandywell on Tuesday night. We'll wait and see how Dundalk get on tomorrow against St. Pat's. But already that's looking like a big game for both sets of managers.
Oh, definitely. I think a win tonight. I think a draw tonight is good for Declan, but I think pressure won't really come off until we start to get wins. And it doesn't get any easier. Although Dundalk are in bad form, on a bad run of form, they will become the Brandywell, and they will make it difficult for us. They've got quality players, and it's just about whether we can build on tonight's performance. Can we take tonight's performance into Tuesday night? And as we say, we don't know what kind of confidence Dundalk are going to be in because they don't play till tomorrow night. But yeah, it's massive pressure. I think the loser on Tuesday night, the losing manager, is going to be under immense pressure if he isn't already.
Luke, just one incident RT is showing a replay of there at the moment as they wrap up their coverage tonight. There was a penalty appeal in the second half where Gartside, he may or may have not made contact with Lyons. Did you think that was a penalty?
When it first happened, I did 100%. But you seen up the second replays and all. I don't think there was an awful lot in it. Like you see them given 100%. You see them given, but if it was against me and it was given, I'd be disappointed. But no, I don't really think that was much of a penalty.
JP, it was a poor piece of goalkeeping, I have to say. He's parried what wasn't the most threatening of shots, and then, like we've seen in a previous game where he came out with the feet and gave away a penalty, Gartside, he's done the same again there. He's gone in with the 2 feet. Now, again, I think Luke is right. There wasn't. I think Lyons, he does it a little bit, to be honest. He has a bit of a name for winning free kicks and winning penalties, but I don't think it was a penalty. But at the same time, he's given the referee a decision to make there, Gartside, with the way he came out with his feet. Are you concerned about his start to the season? He's looked very, very shaky. I thought he spread a lot of nervousness across the back four tonight, even with the ball at his feet at times. He didn't look confident at all.
I'm not overly concerned. I think he's a good shot stopper, Nathan. He's made a few good saves as the season has kicked off. His positioning, his handling from shots probably could be a wee bit better. But I think the more he plays, he might iron them out. And I'm not going to be critical of him early doors because he hasn't played as a number one goalkeeper in an awful long time. So my heart was definitely in my mouth whenever I seen him not get enough on. He's got down low, he's got his 2 hands to it, he's pushed it away from goal, but he has to be doing better, pushing it out for a corner or something like that. But my heart was definitely in my mouth when I seen him flying in with 2 feet. Because as we know, he done it against Waterford and was rightly punished for it.
As you said there, he's an inexperienced goalkeeper. Peter Cherry left the club and faith was put in Gartside. And the fact, he's received the senior international call-up, I mean, that shows he's clearly a very talented young man. But are you concerned about the lack of maybe experience there for him to learn off? It'd be ideal if he did have somebody like a Peter Cherry there in reserve, working with him every day in training, having him pushing for the number 1 jersey. There might be just a little lack of depth in that area, perhaps.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was something that I touched upon prior to the season starting. I'd have liked to have seen somebody like Peter Cherry stay, an experienced goalkeeper anyway, to work with Nathan and Jack. As you say, whoever is the number 1, have an experienced goalkeeper behind them. They push the number 1. They make them be better. But look, I've no doubt that Nathan can learn. as he plays games. But maybe a wee bit of an experienced backup would probably definitely help him. Now, I've no issue of Jack Glennon being the number 2 goalkeeper. But I would like to have had a third goalkeeper in there to help the two boys along.
And Luke, this is a big period coming up for Drogheda now, heading back from the Brandywell tonight to take on Shamrock Rovers now on Tuesday night, and then it's the Louth Derby against Dundalk. So a very important couple of matches coming up for the Drogs.
Yeah, look, these are the type of matches why, we want to be up in this division. These are the type of games that you look forward to. Shamrock Rovers coming to town Tuesday night. They're games you look forward to welcoming the champions. So, look, it's one of them, I hope we can just be as competitive as possible. I think from every game this season, I think we've started and I think we've been competitive in every game, from the Water game to the Pats game. I thought against the Pats, like, even though we lost, we were very competitive. And then even last week against and then the Finn Harps game, and then beating Longford, and tonight. So it's we've had a good start, but it's a big few weeks. You've got all the, I think we've got between now and I think for the rest of this sort of 4 weeks, I think we've got between. I think you've got Dundalk, Rovers, Dundalk, and I think it's then Sligo and then Bows. So you've got like really tough games coming up, but great games as well. So we're looking forward to that, against them sort of oppositions. They're the teams, as I mentioned, we want to be playing against, and it's great to be playing against these teams again,
Just while we're on the subject of goalkeepers, we've seen David Onamuso come out of the nets last week, and Colin McCabe come in. He kept a clean sheet against Longford, and he's done okay there tonight. But I think Onamuso as a goalkeeper really made a big name for himself in the first division last year. He had a decent start to the season. I'm not sure if maybe he was carrying a knock into the game against Longford last week, and perhaps that's why he was on the bench. Would you expect to see him back between the posts sooner rather than later for Drogheda?
Yeah, probably. But you see, Colin McCabe, like, brilliant. I thought he was great against Longford. Like, I know, like, he had a few shots from Dylan Grimes that he had to deal with in the first half. He didn't have like an awful lot to do against Longford, but whatever I thought he done professionally well. I thought his distribution was really good against Longford. Even in pre-season, you're seeing little glimpses of McCabe and what sort of play and what sort of goalkeeper he is. He's quite experienced because he was with Shells and all, and he won the league with Shells, and he was with Celtic as well. I think he was with Celtic for a few years. So he has decent experience. He's learned off some good goalkeepers. He's still only young, and he's had a good start. David as well, like, made a massive name for himself last season. I thought he was the best goalkeeper in the league last year. I thought he was 100%. Look, he had a good start. He played against Waterford, Longford. No, not Longford. I mean Pats and Finn Harps. So he had them for 3 games, and he thought he done reasonably well in them 3 games. I don't think he put a foot wrong. So he's had a good start as well. So look, both keepers are good and good competition for themselves. They'll push each other on. So it's good to have that competition there, and I'm sure the two of them will want to be the number 1.
Yeah, and Tim Clancy was forced into a little bit of a reshuffle tonight because Conor Kane picked up that injury last week. So Dane Massey went out to fullback, and I think it was Hughie Douglas to come in into the centre. But we've seen Jimmy Brown over on the right-hand side. He was absolutely phenomenal again. For me, he was the man of the match. But Kane's a huge loss, isn't he? For anyone that maybe hasn't seen him a lot, obviously he's coming in from the first division, so some fans might not be aware of him. But if Brown is getting maybe stifled over the far side, if someone's pinning him back, Kane usually is the other side causing trouble. So he was a big loss, even though Massey did perfectly fine. But maybe there would have been more attacks down that left-hand side had Kane been fit tonight.
Yeah, I think so. Look, Dane, he's been playing. I think he's playing in that position with Dundalk for years. So, like, he has that real experience on that side of playing fullback. He's come in and he's been playing in a bit more defensive role with Drogheda since he's come in, and I thought he's done brilliant since he's come in. I think you can just see he's so professional in everything he does, and you can just see the experience he has. And he's class, you know what I mean? He uses class. He's been class for Dundalk. He won everything with Dundalk, and now he's with us. So, Kane and Jimmy Brown, like, Jimmy is just something else out on that. He's unbelievable. It's a joy watching him, to be honest. Even tonight again, he's had many opportunities to he could have more goals to his name already this season. Like he's a fullback, you know. Even against Waterford, he was unlucky not even to get that goal from the own goal. But a few chances as well against Fifth Hearts that he was unlucky with. But he's been brilliant, assists, goals. So you can't really ask for more from your fullback. And he's defensively as well tonight. He was solid. Even that challenge in the last 2 minutes on Parkhouse, like he literally got a toe to that. If he hadn't got the toe to that, it's a penalty all day, you know. So it was a brilliant challenge by himself. So Conor Kane, a big loss, but look, hopefully he'll be fit soon and he'll be straight back in there. Because the two of them are two absolutely unbelievable fullbacks, you know.
Yeah, when I seen that tackle happening, it was just in slow motion. I was certain the whistle was going to go, but he timed it. Yeah, he timed it perfectly. It was a fantastic tackle, and I just thought he was fantastic. But Luke, you'll probably play down what I'm about to say, but early days, as we all know, but 8 points on the board already. In each and every game, Drogheda has been competitive. Their only defeat was a last-minute goal against St. Pat's. Have you maybe considered you're not going to really be in a relegation scrap this year, and Drogheda can aim a little bit higher up?
Look, hopefully, but it's too early to call. You know, we've had a really good start, but it's only a start. You take it each game as it comes. I've seen like it's a good start, but you have to back the start up, and if we can back that start up, then look, we'll think ahead when it comes to that. But take each game as it comes. We have a big few games coming up, so we just look forward to that. Take each game as it comes, as I mentioned. So we'll take it as it comes, and look, hopefully we won't be in one, but you never know. It's such an unpredictable league. Like the league's just, you can see even the level is just going up. Like seeing Derry down there, I find that mad, and Dundalk struggling as well. Bowls are starting to pick up form. It's so open. Even like Longford had a disappointing result last week against us, but they're still, I still think that they might be okay. It's too early to call for any team, so we'll take each game to come and hopefully not, but we'll see,
JP, obviously still a disappointing start for Derry, even despite that result tonight. Where do you feel this team is going to be after 10 or 15 games? Do you still think they're going to be in a bit of a scrap and a bit of a dogfight all year, or can they eventually maybe show their class and pull up that league table?
I think we just have to take this point now and look forward instead of looking back. And I'm hoping after 10, 15 games that we've 1 or 2 wins under our belts. And look, it's still too early to say that we're not going to be in a relegation battle because we're at the bottom of the table. Whilst you're at the bottom of the table, you've always got to take that into consideration, as if that possibility is going to be there. I'm just hoping now that the team has showed tonight that what they can do if they use the ball properly and get on the ball and try and make things happen, and just get the ball in the midfield, and they will Patchen and they will Fitzgerald, get Danny Lafferty on it going forward. I thought Jack Malone in the middle of the park tonight was absolutely superb. Every time the ball came loose for Derry, he was there. I just think when we don't have the ball, just think the midfield just needs to put a foot in instead of just backing off and letting the opposition have the ball, because the couple of chances that Jimmy Brown had in the second half came from that. We let him run with it and let him run with it. So it's just wee things like that the more we play, that the more better we can get at. Hopefully, and after 15 games, they say 10 to 15 games, you usually know where you're going to be come the end of the season. And I'm hoping that the next 3-4 weeks that we start to pick up a few points and we can look up rather than look back.
Look, before I let you go, lads, we'll have a chat about the games coming up in the Premier Division tomorrow. We'll start with Longford Town against Shamrock Rovers. Can anyone see anything but a Rovers win there? I'll start with you first, JP.
I think Longford will make it difficult for them. Longford will be they'll be hurting from the 4-0 defeat last week against Drogheda, and they'll be looking to come out and make a point. I think it'll probably be similar to how the game went against Derry on Tuesday night, that Rovers will have a lot of the ball. Longford will make it difficult, but I think in the end, Rovers might just have a wee bit too much for them. But look, it's football. You never know. Just anything can happen. But I think my gut feeling is that Shamrock Rovers are going to win it.
Obviously, you would have watched Longford against Drogheda last week, Luke. Would you agree with JP there that Rovers will probably have too much class for them?
It's so hard to tell. Like every game, it's not going to be an easy game. Like I think 4-0. Like it's obviously it's been the biggest result of the season so far. Like, I know we're only 5 games in or whatever, but it's you can see that there's not an awful lot between teams from the top half and the bottom half. So look, it's so hard to tell. I do think if Longford, it's just so important, Longford's sort of game plan, and if they can stick to that game plan, because if you don't stick to the game plan, it could turn it could turn bad for them. But honestly, I honestly think that it'll be a good game, and I do think I think look, as JP made a really fair point. I think Longford will they won't struggle. I don't think they'll struggle at all against Shamrock Rovers. I think that if they can set up right, and you never know what can happen off the counter attack. But I do think Shamrock Rovers will just have that little bit too much for them.
Yeah, I have to say I probably won't get much sleep tonight, so I hope you're right that it is a good competitive game. But I'll stick with you for the minute, Luke. Your near neighbours Dundalk in action tomorrow, and I think that's the game a lot of people will have their eyes on. In truth, again, a shame all these games are kicking off at 6 o'clock, because I'm sure people would love to watch all 3. But this is the one most neutrals will probably look towards. Dundalk against St. Pat's. Dundalk 1 point on the board from their 4 games. Pat's top of the league. I was actually very surprised. I said it on the podcast this week to see Dundalk so short in the betting. They're 6-5 favourites. So Pat's not the bookmakers' favourites, but would a lot of supporters and pundits maybe make Pat's favourites for this game, given the form the Dundalk are in and given everything that's going on off the pitch?
You probably would, but again, it's not going to be an easy game. It's never an easy game up in Oriel Park. But Pats have had a great start. They look really good. They've got depth as well. I think that's what they've been missing, and a bit of experience as well. I think they've been missing over the last few seasons. And I think they have that now, bringing in the likes of John Mountney and all, and Forrester looks to be back to his best. Coughlin in there as well looks brilliant, and they've got younger lads as well coming through. The likes of Dara Burns. I know Dara very well, and I know what sort of player he is, and I'm sure he's going to show it off this season. He's had a good start, and it was not good for JP, but he got his first goal against Derry last week. So it's good to see these younger lads getting these opportunities and taking them. But Pats, will be full of confidence, and Dundalk probably won't be as confident. But it's a massive game for Dundalk already. 5 games in, it's a massive game for them. It's going to be look, the pressure's on Dundalk, and there's lots of questions been asked about the management set up there and what that's all about. But it's still Dundalk, still got the quality players, and it's going to be a good game. But I can see a Pats win. What's your thoughts on that game tomorrow, JP?
Just basically what Luke said there. All pressure's on Dundalk. Some Pats they've made an excellent start, but they'll be looking to back up their excellent start with a win against Dundalk. But as I said earlier, it's Dundalk. They've got quality players in their team, and if they create the chances, they can score the goals. But the problem for them is that they aren't creating the chances in the numbers that they would have in the past. But some Pats they're well drilled, they're well organised. They have a bit of steel about them. They're what we haven't seen in the last 3 or 4 years. And it's going to be difficult going to Oriel Park. It's never easy, as Lucas said. But I just feel that some Pats look more of a unit than what Dundalk do. Dundalk, it's probably going to be a team of individuals against the team. And I think in the end, I think some Pats is going to come out on top.
Yeah, and that's very much been the case so far in Dundalk's games. Great individual talent on the pitch, but they just haven't been able to put that all together yet. So we'll see if that continues tomorrow. And it can't be easy being a Derry fan at the moment. Your team's struggling, and you're seeing Finn Harps absolutely flying. They were top of the league until Pats got that win last weekend. So will you be shouting for Sligo tomorrow? I suppose they're still local rivals as well.
Well, look, it is what it is. Finn Harps have. They deserve this. They deserve it. Like they've built on it. Like they've had stability off the field with having Ollie Horgan in the dugout now for the last 7-8 years, and on stability in the dugout brings stability on the field of play. And they've had the news in the last few weeks that they're going to have the new stadium, so everything's looking up for Finn Harps. And look, it's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. And I'm sure Ollie will be saying that to his team. But what they do and what they've done in the past is they make it difficult for teams. So they do. But what they've added to their game now is they've added that wee bit of craftiness in their play, that they can get the ball down and they can move it quickly and turn defense into attack in absolutely no time. And we saw it against Dundalk, and they got a couple of goals from it. And yeah, it is hard as a Derry fan to see Finn Harps up there and us struggling at the bottom. But look, hopefully now we can take this point and build on it the way Finn Harps did. They got a massive win early on against Bows and have built on it. Sligo is going to. I think this is the hardest game of the weekend to call because two teams are in superb form. And Sligo probably would feel hard done by that they haven't won all their games, because you look at the first game against Dundalk, they had that goal ruled out for offside and took the lead lit on against Rovers and ended up drawing it. And it's going to be an interesting game. I might actually watch this game and instead of St. Pat's game, but I'll definitely be keeping an eye on both of them. But I think this one could end up a draw, you know.
And Shane, who's watching on our Facebook page, very much in agreement with the comments you've both made tonight, lads. He says, leaving Shamrock Rovers out of it must be the most competitive Premier Division in a long time. All the other teams are well capable of beating each other. Even Derry makes for great viewing. So, yeah, thanks, Shane. I think the two lads very much in agreement with what you said. Just for anyone that is coming home tonight from wherever you may have been, First Division results: Bray 1, Athlone 2. Great start to the season for Athlone continues. Cork 1, Shells 3. That was 1-1 at half time, but Cork went down to 10 men early in that game, and Shells eventually went through the gears to win it. Galway 1, Treaty 1. Treaty remain unbeaten in the League of Ireland, while Galway, they've had a slow start as well, it has to be said, and Treaty for the first time managed to keep 11 men on the pitch as well. UCD gave Cabinteely a bit of a hammering in the South Dublin derby. That was UCD 4, Cabinteely 1, so UCD up to second with that one. Athlone top on 10, UCD joint second with Shells on 8 points. And then Cove Ramblers, they got their first win of the season as well, a 2-1 win away to Wexford. So that's what happened tonight. And of course, in the Premier Division earlier on, we saw Bows beat Waterford by a goal to nil. I'm not sure if either of you were watching that one.
No, I didn't see it.
Same parts of it. I thought, Bows, look, I think Waterford aren't the easy team at all now. You know? This thing, what I've noticed about Waterford, it's over the weeks, sort of as they go on. I think I said this to you before, Kieran, but it's as over the weeks go on, they're going to get better, and it's just I don't think they're getting the results. Apart from the Derry game, but they're not getting the results. Look, it's a results business, but it's only early on,
Sorry, go ahead, JP.
I saw Waterford's first three games. Obviously, two of them. One was against Derry, and one was on RT, and because they were the very first game of the season against Drogheda. So I saw from game to game they improved, and I never haven't seen their last two games, but they will make it difficult for teams. Like they're not getting hidings, they're getting beat by the odd goal here and there. And I agree with Luke, as the weeks go on they'll get better. But I think Bows were just that one win away from getting their season up and running. They got it last week in Oriel Park. They've grinded out another 1-0 win now against Waterford, and I think it's just a matter of time now before Bows start to click and move up that table and start the challenge for the top 2 or 3 positions again.
Yeah, well, that's the key word you use there, grinding out, because I watched the game in full. I don't think it was a great game of football, to be honest. Bows probably they did deserve their half-time lead. I thought Waterford gave them a lot of room to play. The likes of Ali Coote was quite good. I just think they're lacking a little bit something up front, though. Georgie Kelly dropping very, very deep at times, maybe trying a little bit too hard to force things, and it's not just working for him. And obviously he's a man who has a good record against Derry, I think, JP. I think he's got a couple of goals against you in the past, Georgie Kelly. What have you made of his start to the season?
He's definitely a good player. He came up with a couple of goals with Dundalk a couple of years ago in the FA Cup. Came off a bench and won the game for them. And he's the same when he comes up against Finn Harps. I think he's from the area. It must be something that he just gets a springy step. But I think as the season goes on, I think he'll start to score more often. He's like a fox in the box, isn't he? His eyes lit up whenever from 12 yards out the ball drops, and he's not going to miss. And I just feel that if he's coming deep, you're not getting the best out of him. You're going to get the best out of him if you're getting the service into him. And maybe that he's lacking that wee bit of service at the minute, that he feels that he has to come deep to get on the ball. But I have no doubt that as the the season goes on, Georgie Kelly will turn out to be a good signing for Bose.
Yeah, and Jason, who's watching on Facebook, says, I think Drogheda are proving how tough both divisions are in the league now. They've come up and are competing really well. This could be one of the best Premier divisions for a long time, and I definitely hope that is the case. And as I said, some interesting games tomorrow. Rovers probably will be expected to win against Longford, so be up to the likes of St. Pat's and Sligo and Harps to keep their good runs going and try and make a bit of a race of it this year. Would you both still make Shamrock Rovers heavy title favourites, or is it going to be tighter than that this year?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think Shamrock Rovers. Look, it's gonna. I'm actually thinking as well, because it's not going to be a title race, but I don't think they'll run away with it at all. But you can just see, even like they started off with the Pats game and it was 1-1, and I thought they were lucky enough to win. Like, not really lucky enough to win it, but like, Pats probably felt unlucky that they couldn't have won that they didn't win that game, and they didn't have their 100% start to the season. But I do think that they'll still be the team to beat. I think that they still got that quality there. Like you're seeing the type of quality that they have with Kieran Burke there. Like the goal he scored against Derry, it's just thing of art. Like it's not many goals you see very often, and that's the sort of quality they bring. So they'll definitely be probably the favourites. But again, I don't think they'll run away with it.
Look, lads, it's been brilliant speaking with you tonight. I'm going to head off and try and get some sleep ahead of this trip to Tala tomorrow. I have to say, it's I'm having some bad thoughts about it, but hopefully both of you were right in what you said, and it'll be a good tight game of football. But I have to say, I really enjoyed tonight's game. Actually, thought it was very open. Both teams gave it a go, and you're both slightly disappointed maybe that you didn't make more of it. So I think that's probably a positive sign for both Derry and Drogheda going forward.
Oh yeah, definitely. It is. If Derry had lost this game, I think going into Dundalk, shot of confidence, it would be make Dundalk an even tougher game. But the fact now they've got their first point on the board, it comes off a positive performance that they can take belief now in themselves that they can play nice football, and that they just need that wee bit of luck and at both ends of the pitch, and stop conceding the first goal and maybe score the first goal and see what they're made of.
Yeah, I agree actually, because I think, look, Derry, they've had, obviously it's a disappointing start for them, but I think they can push on now. I think like there's going to be a lot of pressure now on Dundalk tomorrow, and if they don't pick up a result there, like I think if they don't pick up a result against Pats, that they'll be really low on confidence. But I think, look, Derry aren't an easy team at all to beat. But it's great. Drogheda are competing as well as possible. They've had a good start. Look, as I said at the start, Derry is not an easy place to go to. No matter what's going on in the season, no matter what team is wearing the table, it's a difficult place to go to, and it's a good point. But it's probably unlucky not to get a win in the end. But look, if we keep putting in performances and competing well, I'm pretty positive, because we have a big few games coming up.
And our final comment on tonight's show, Mark Gilcrease, who's watching on YouTube all the way from Holland. Fair play to you, Mark. Great to see you tuning in. Town are most dangerous when written off, Kieran. So, again, I hope you're right on that one, Mark. But look, that's where I'm going to let the two lads go tonight. JP, thanks very much. Derry City fan who joined us on the show. And the excellent Luke McQuillan, who's part of the Drogs media team, doing great work up there at Head in the Game Park. So, again, Luke, thanks a million for joining me.
Thanks for having me on, Kieran. My pleasure.
And as I said, Luke, part of the media team up in Head in the Game Park. And before I go, a little bit of plugging for the boys over at Head in the Game. Big well done to them. You'll see I have the jersey on, and it's sold out in record time. It's sold out in a couple of hours on the Umbro site. It's a beautiful kit, and great to see it selling out so quickly. And the proceeds of that going to the mental health partners of Head in the Game, Shine and Jigsaw, who you'll see on the respective sleeves of the kit. So I know there's a like and share competition underway on the Head in the Game social channels at the moment. So if you'd like to win one of those beautiful jerseys, which, as I said, are now sold out, then head over to the Head in the Game Facebook and Twitter accounts, and you'll see that like and share competition. But that's the BTS Boot Room for tonight, and we're going to round off by bringing you a very important message from the good folks at Head in the Game. Look after yourselves, and we'll speak to you again next week.
The new season back will soon fade to black if the floodlights turn off.
There will be no away dates with all of your mates if the floodlights turn off.
There'll be no bag of cans on a bus full of fans if the floodlights turn off. There'll be no Friday night lights or last minute delights if the floodlights turn off.
There will be no singing from the stands with the rest of the fans if the floodlights turn off.
There will be no cup final days when your favourite team plays if the floodlights turn off.
There will be no post-match discussions about last-ditch tackle repercussions if the floodlights turn off.
There will be no more over there, what's the score or singing anymore if you turn your floodlights off.
We've seen some scores and nail misses. Celebrate it with hugs and kisses. Don't turn your floodlights off.
We're in this together and we'll help you get better. Don't turn your floodlights off.
We are a family of supporters, our clubs, sons and daughters. Don't turn your floodlights off.
In the dark of night, we can be your light. Don't turn the floodlights off.
You've been with us around the bend. We're with you as a comrade and friend. Don't turn your floodlights off.
For all the heaviness you hide, we're here by your side. Don't turn your floodlights off.
Please don't cross the line. We still have extra time. Don't turn your floodlights off.
This is not your final whistle.
This is not your final whistle.
This is not your final whistle.
This is not your final whistle. Please don't turn your floodlights off.